Hi.
I didn't realize I was muted. How are you, Kenti?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Fine. Karibu sana.
Asante, asante.
I didn't realize I was muted.
It happens.
Hi, Pauline.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, good.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I saw Jen is here. Hi, Jen, you are here?
I think she's away from her computer, but she should be somewhere around.
Okay, that's nice. Karibuni sana.
Ante.
Can see you joining.
I had joined early.
Karibu sana. We called you tukaona hakuna mtu.
Sorry, I had. I'm fixing some hot water.
Okay.
Uh,
Necessary. The weather is a bit unpredictable.
Yeah.
Karibuni sana.
Asante.
Naona watu wanaendelea kusema wataingia.
Okay. So may I check with the Mentimeter?
Oh yeah, you got it, eh?
Yeah, may I check with her?
Okay.
Yeah, please do check and then let me know if there's
anything. You are there?
Yes.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, so Dr. Kendi, meet Catherine. Catherine is a deputy chair.
Yes.
Yes, for the Councillors Association. We call it University Councillors Association.
Yeah. Kenya University Professional Councillors Association.
Yes. Kendi is an expert in IT. And I called her in a very short notice.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is nice. Thank you, Kendi, for agreeing to come at short notice.
No problem, no problem. We are a really strong family at ANU, so we support each other anytime.
Thank you so much. We are happy to be connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way you greeted me was like you knew me. So I was like, oh no, how come I don't know her? I so you just saw my name. I was just like, oh okay.
Yeah.
She's like, hello, Kendi. I'm like, oh, hi. I didn't want to say. I'm not sure. I don't know you.
Okay.
Let me put the real names here so that you can also get a preview to us.
We have Pauline on board.
Yes.
Hello, Pauline.
Hi, just a minute. Oh man, where did it go? Yeah, I'm back. Yes, hi. I haven't finished on paper. That's why I'm just.
Okay.
It's raining here on my life, exams and assignment and everything.
Okay.
But I'm okay.
Always-
How is everyone?
Always be well.
Yes.
Good. We are happy
Yes.
to have you, and you will manage.
I hope
Yeah.
so. Really, I hope so. It's chaotic.
You needed a break. This will be a good break for you.
No, I need to be done with the exam so that I can do revision. I'm so scared, at least I don't have a lot of units. So I just want to, I want to be done with it today and just remain with the revision and the summary. Because
Okay.
if I don't do I didn't do a lot of summary. I've been like back and forth and settling in. So I didn't settle down really properly. So I need time enough to do the revisions.
Okay. We wish you well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Candy, how do we go about the Mentimeter?
What's that?
Sorry, we can share the link on the chat,
Yeah.
and then I can display it. So if you share the screen with me, you know, maybe we can be testing that out before they come. Just see whether, let me see whether I can share. Oh yes, I can share. So I can share the screen of the submissions. The one thing that I didn't ask was whether you wanted to control the answers or you wanted to give them time for them to fill it at their own pleasure.
We would want to start with those questions. Is it Catherine?
Yeah, we want to start so that it builds up the discussion.
Okay.
So we want them filled as we ask them, and we want to start with one question at a time.
Okay, that's what I was asking. So then I can pace it. So I'll set that up so that I'm pacing it and
It's called
May I
what?
send it
Home, eh?
May I send it to Catherine?
yeah, let me do that.
Somebody has some nice music in the background. Is that me? I don't think so.
It's not me also.
Not me.
I could be the suspect. So if you have background noise, try and mute. Yeah, it's better now. And welcome to everyone who has found time to come. We are happy to have you here with us. Dr. Becky, I see you. Karibu sana. Grace Karanja, you're most welcome.
Thank
Dr. Karibuni.
Thank you, thank you.
In the interest of time, we will just continue. Those who come will join us as we go, because some of us have term papers like you've had, and others are struggling to set exams and other issues. So we will appreciate to keep time so that we gain maximally, especially if we joined on time. And this afternoon, we have Dr. Jen Buren. Thank you very much, Dr. for agreeing under very stressful conditions to be with us here in KUPCA. In KUPCA, we seek to build the capacity of ourselves as healthcare workers and the mental health practitioners in the face of what is happening in our country and in the world actually at the moment. We know we play a very important role in maintaining in this pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic we are going through. People are suffering physically and emotionally and psychologically, and we have been placed at that point in time to be able to be of help to others. Even as we help ourselves, we need this dose of medicine as much as we are dispensing it for others. So as KUPCA, it's our aim to build the capacity of the mental health practitioners, because we know we support the bulk of mental health practice in this country. We are dealing with our students, we are dealing with our staff at the institutions of higher learning, and I know in the communities where we are also supporting the people around us. We are dealing with our own families, our own relatives, and we are dealing with ourselves. so the weight and the demands placed on us, I would want to say, if I speak for everybody else, they are quite enormous. And we need to be able to build our own capacity so that we can cope and we can effectively help others and not cause more harm as we try to do good as it is. So that's why we are here in a safe space where we can discuss, we can admit our inadequacies, we can cry on each other's shoulders, we can tell each other, we can debrief, we can do all those things. That's why we create this opportunity. And it's very, very, very encouraging when we see ourselves among the capacity we have agreeing to come and share. So today, Dr. Jane will take us through the reality has taken us that we may be thrown into unfamiliar territory or new territories. So Dr. Jane will take us through e-counseling. How do you go about it and what is happening? So it's going to be an interactive session. And if you look at your the chat, a link has been shared there. I know Dr. Kendi will take us through how to use this chat so that we are able to interact. I would like to introduce Dr. Jane first to come up and greet the participants, introduce us, and start us off with the facilitation for today. Karibu sana, Daktari.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be invited and to be given an opportunity to share on what we need, a tool that we'll need around this time, some competences that we need during this time when we have the COVID-19 pandemic. As you've heard, I'm Jane Gure from African Nazarene University, and I'm the Dean, School of Humanities and Social Sciences, but I'm also involved in counseling. I'm a counselor. I was asked to present on e-therapy. This is online counseling. But before we get started, we would want to respond to a few questions that will help us know where we are at, and thereafter we'll continue. We are calling it an introduction. We'll definitely have a few other sessions that will help us get to know much more or interact more with e-therapy. So I'd like to invite Dr. Kendi Chungi. She is one of us at African Nazarene University, an ICT expert and a lecturer in that area, computer science. Kindly come on board, Kendi, and let us know how we'll go about the Mentimeter.
Thank you, Catherine and Jane, for just allowing me to be here and just to be a part of the process. So there's a link in the chat. If you scroll to the bottom of the Zoom screen, if you have it on full screen and you scroll to the bottom of the screen, you'll see a chat, something like a box for talking. So please click on that. And once you click on that, you should be able to see the link to the Menti, the tool that we're going to be using for the purposes of this session. So all you have to do is just go bit by bit. I think Catherine and Jane, you will instruct me on how when to move from one question to the next. Okay, so I will share my screen so that you can be seeing the responses, because I think already some of you have started responding to the questions. And if I do Control F, oh, sorry.
So we are 23 of us, and only we have received seven responses. So let's continue responding. I hope we have understood where we are supposed to click. Members, are we there?
Yes, for me, I have voted. There's a question, are you counseling clients currently? So you choose yes or no.
Okay. Do we move on?
No, only 7 people have responded, right?
Yeah, but
Yes.
can we wait, give them like 2 more minutes?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they
We
are
can-
finding the link.
Yeah.
At the chat, there's that link. If you click on the link, it takes you to the question. Only 9 people have responded. We need at least half. Is there anybody having a challenge with accessing the link?
If you have any questions in terms of the accessing the link or anything really with the IT component, please feel free to ask and I will do my best to help.
Wangari says can't access the link.
Okay, let me share again, because you see what happens is if she came in a little, sorry, if you excuse me, just 1 second. I stop sharing the screen, then I should be able to share the link.
Can you share it on the...
There you go. I've shared. I have to share again. If you come later, you don't see the previous chat. So I've shared again. So please feel free to click. Let me share again.
I think people have responded. We are 28. If you have any challenge, the question is simple. Are you doing counseling with clients currently? Are we doing any counseling? Just yes or no?
No, we are not.
Then
Yeah, so please click if you haven't.
put it on the link. Okay, I think we can continue with the next question. Now we're also seeing technology is challenging us. As we go on, we can continue with the next one. There's a hand up. Yes, Infinix, you can talk to us. Unmute and ask your question. You have a question? There's somebody using Infinix Note 3 and their hand is up. Okay, let's continue. The next question is, if yes, what method are you using? Are you doing physical counseling, e-counseling? Yes.
Hello, the choices for this question should have both physical e-counseling or both. because there are people who are doing counseling both physically and through E.
Okay, I think for now we don't have a third option. Or you're able to create one?
Yes, I should be able to do that if you just give me 1 second. But
Okay.
that might mean they have to change their answer. Let
Okay.
me just quickly do that.
So you'll have to go back to the question again so that we can click both.
Yes. So you see it's appeared here. So you can actually just change your response if you're doing both. Or if not, I can I can clear the responses and then you respond again. Is that okay?
Yeah,
The
that's
tab
fine.
for both. The tab for both is not picking.
Okay, can I let me reset 1 second if you don't mind. Let me reset the results for this and you guys can vote again if that's okay with everybody.
That's fine.
No problem.
Okay. Oh, but you can refresh. Have you tried to refresh before I reset?
Let me see if I can refresh. Refresh.
If the refresh doesn't, let me just reset for this slide. It's okay. Then you can do
You have
it.
already voted on this question. I didn't have the refresh button.
So I've reset and let me see. Yeah, so you can yeah, excellent. Hey, you guys are really good at this. So
Okay. All right, I think we can continue to the next question.
Where's my phone? This one.
Again, these choices should have had multiple approaches, or should
yeah.
we choose others?
So agreed, you could possibly choose others. For this one, I did get the option to do multiple choices, but for the multiple choices, it doesn't allow the facilitator then to control
No,
the
we are
session.
not talking about multiple choices.
Mm.
We are talking about multiple means, like
Yes,
yeah,
so that you can tick multiple methods, right?
Multiple approaches.
Yes. So like WhatsApp, Zoom, or do you mean different approaches from e-counseling?
You know, you could be having one client on WhatsApp, another one on Google Meet. So you're using multiple, not one single approach.
Agreed. So please choose others and then specify, and you get an opportunity to specify which means you're using under others.
We are 29 of us, and I'm seeing only 8 responses.
Wangari, you missed the link.
Yes, I did. I have changed the tool I was using. I was using computer initially, but I've changed to phone.
Please feel free. I've reshared the link. If that's okay with you, just click on it again.
Maybe you can resend if there are people who have just joined.
Yes, I've just resent. I can resend again.
Thank you.
We can move to the next question, if that's okay.
Yes.
Another question, we can take the next one. right, we can move on, Dr. All right, I think maybe Dr. Jane, you can take it from there, then we'll continue with the rest of the questions as we go on. Jane?
Sorry, I think I'd muted.
Yes.
Let's finish with the two more questions. There's one on disadvantage and then a last one.
Mm-hmm.
That will be a good start for us today.
Okay.
Yeah. So Dr. Kendi, kindly take us to the next one. Okay, let's move to the next one. I think this is food for thought. Do you have disadvantages for e-therapy? Okay, thank you for the responses. This is the last question, but it has a why. When you choose yes, why, and no, why. In this forum, we have the counselors, the university counselors on board, and maybe would want to know whether this would be the right way to go. Come September, would you recommend this to your institutions?
Dr. Nguria, I'm just hiding the responses just so
Yeah.
that there's no influencing of each other.
Okay.
I realize that
I
later.
can't see them.
Yeah, but you can see at the bottom of the screen, 7 people have already responded.
Okay, thank
Bottom
you.
right, yeah.
Okay.
The problem with hiding is that when you click, you're not sure it has entered.
It has gone. Oh, okay. Yeah, I probably should have told you. but I might as well just show. So that's the results without influencing of each other. So that's good.
All right.
We can go to the last one.
Okay. So once you're done, just let me know or put up your hand, and then I can confirm whether yours has gone. But I'll tell you immediately you submit. I'll be saying the numbers as they come up on the screen.
Dr. Kendi, if I'm right, we have 0 response.
Yes.
But the advantage is we had yes on that other side. Almost everyone was saying yes to this.
Yes.
We would recommend the use of e-therapy to university counselors or to our institutions. So take us from the start so that I can be able to, we can be able to interact with this before we get to our, what do we call it? Our PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so most of us are currently counseling, and that was before we were 31. So I want to believe those who have joined us, majority are counseling in one way or the other, or wherever they are. Let's move to the next one. And majority are using both face-to-face and e-therapy, online counseling. Let's move to the next one. And those using e-therapy, what means do they use? So we have WhatsApp. That seems to be a majority of us. Zoom, I think none. At least there's someone who has used Skype, Google Meet, and there are those who have used others, and I think they responded in the question that will follow.
Yeah.
Let me just add that it's not that we didn't use Zoom.
Yes.
I put like the choice of others because I use all of them or most of them.
Who is this?
Zoom included. Susan.
This is
Susan Botha from DISA.
Susan.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've used a lot. You've used
Yes.
Zoom. You've indicated you used multiple.
Yes.
Multiple
Or
channels.
I said I chose the others, but that's just to clarify.
Yeah.
That there are some of us who have used Zoom as well.
Good. And we also have someone who use phone calls. Very important. So as much as we would want to talk about e-therapy, which depends on internet, there is also telephone counseling. And that comes in handy because that's the other alternative. Yes, take us to the other question on issues. Is this the one on issues?
Yeah, 1 second.
So which are the most issues that we have found ourselves handling? Stress, especially during this COVID period. People are stressed. We have heard of job cuts. We have heard of unpaid leaves. We have heard of even restructuring in offices and the like, businesses affected. Those who are at home, issues of extending their time at home also can be a cause of stress. So stress seems to be one of the main issues we are handling. The issues of parenting, relationship, and especially those who are handling the university students, relationship issues has featured a lot in a few of the conversations I've had. And we have others. So take us to other issues. Non-COVID related issues, but there are also COVID related issues. And now that COVID is on the rise, this could be, or the virus spread has been on the rise, this will become an issue soon. And therefore I need to know how to handle it, and helping people who are either self-quarantine, those either in hospital or in self-isolation. We have parenting, relationships, depression. We have loss and grief. And there are others who have indicated they have found themselves handling multiple of these issues: stress, parenting, and relationships. Suicidal ideations, that also has come. So we needed just to be aware of some of the issues that you're handling and how we can handle them even online. So take us to the next. Advantages of e-therapy. It's very timely, especially during this time of COVID. I've seen someone write that. We are saying it is convenient. Most of us are saying it's very convenient, it is safe, and less risky. Yeah. We also have the ability to react to people who are far. So again, it's immediate. It's real time in case someone has issues. Ability, able, all time, all places. So very convenient, and we can easily access it, increased access. Time consuming, maybe not as much because you are not traveling, so it takes less of our time. And it doesn't have barrier of meeting place, and it's also timeless. So thank you for this response, very helpful, because e-therapy has a lot of advantages which we may want to make good use of at this time. Let's go to the disadvantages. Overdependence on the counselor. You'll find a way of dealing with that because a client can keep coming back to you through either WhatsApp and the like. So we may need to know how to handle that at a later time. Expensive. Lack of internet coverage. Yes, you need what we call data bundle or bandwidth. So it can be expensive, especially if you're doing Zoom, you're doing Google Hangouts. You cannot do without it. If even if you're doing the WhatsApp, you'll need data bundle. You need internet. Inability to read body language, very true. The non-verbal cues are missing, or you'll not see your client unless you're doing Skype and the others. No face-to-face or access to the non-verbals, that one has been mentioned. And also someone else has also mentioned, you don't have to use non-verbal cues. Or you not find, you use them, but the other person will not see them unless you are Skyping or doing the Zoom or Hangout. Lack of contracting signature. Yes, but there's a way you can do it. If we are able to finally establish an e-therapy website or platform, you can have contracting or agreement forms. Responding techniques are limited. Yeah, especially when you think of counselors, we talk of solar, you'd want to attend. There are a few things you'd want to do, but what we say in e-therapy, we will fine tune some of these face-to-face techniques or skills and apply them on e-therapy. And then it's not possible to capture verbal, that when we have looked at it. No eye contact, yes. And then client observation is limited, very true. So all these are limitations to e-therapy. And therefore, even as you start off with your clients, you need to let them know that this is a limitation. So it's good for us to understand their limitations. And therefore, sometimes we may be forced to refer clients to face-to-face counseling. And therefore saying not everyone will be appropriate for this type of therapy. I'm wondering, whom would you say is not appropriate for e-therapy? Now I want to find out from those who are present, who may not be appropriate, and especially when you really need the facial expressions, you'd want to observe this person for you to make your diagnosis. What kind of people would we say they're not appropriate?
Say children.
Children.
Yes? I think of children.
Children?
Yeah, young ones.
Children, in most cases, we say these ones will need parental consent before they become part of your clientele. There's someone else who was giving a point.
I wanted to say the same.
Yes.
And most so where one has to use the art therapy, you want to look at their drawings and examine, or play therapy. It becomes a challenge.
Okay.
Apart from the consent from the parents.
Okay, thank you very much for that elaboration. So, Dr.
Chris has said suicidal patients on the chat.
Okay, yes, suicidal patients will need urgent and in most cases face-to-face interaction. Sometimes when you think of e-therapy, we are thinking of email, and that might take a day or two before you respond. You may not get real-time response. So those may not be suitable for e-therapy. So thank you, Dr. Mtungi and Dr. Kendi.
I can see Dr. Nyabuto's hand is up. Maybe she can respond.
Okay, please.
Dr. Nyabuto, is your hand up?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, please say something.
Okay, I just want to say that clients who are overwhelmed by situations like the loss of a loved one, sometimes it will be a bit hard to bring them into control using e-therapy. Somebody has lost, and maybe he has received bad news, and it will be very hard to control such a client using e-therapy.
Yeah, there are people could. Hello, thank you, Dr. We've heard your point very clear. So this is our last question. would you recommend e-therapy to university counselors? And for those who seem to be participating, they've clearly said, yeah, we would want to recommend e-therapy. And especially this time round, when we are not very sure whether institutions will open in September for face-to-face classes or they'll continue online. So we may need to still continue helping our own students, and this can be a good alternative to face-to-face counseling. So I would want to take us now back to our PowerPoint presentation. I'll make it a little bit brief because we've already handled much of the information we needed to handle. Thank you, Dr. Kendi, for helping us in this. This has helped us to be more interactive and to think through e-therapy. Are you seeing the presentation?
And yeah, it's there now.
It's there, thank you. So I've started by defining what e-therapy is. Mostly takes place when a counselor talks to a client over the internet and with an objective of providing emotional support. So this is the usual counseling, but this time round it is online, where you're not seeing your client or you're not on a face-to-face. It's delivered through chats, videos, and the like. And this is the viable alternative where face-to-face therapy is not available. And that's why we would want to recommend to our institutions. I know most of our institutions have many online students, but I'm not sure how we reach them. How do they get counseling services? So this would be an opportunity for us to set up a domain, a space in our website, our institutional websites for counseling. We have these two types of e-therapy. We have synchronous, which is real-time, like chat, video, and Skype. But we also have the asynchronous, which is time delayed. You get responses later. We are talking of message boards, which are mostly found on the website or on the space on the website. We can leave our message there for people to read and later on respond. And also the use of email, which are found very effective to use with the clients. When you talk of synchronous, which is real time, it has its advantages. It's real time, very close to face, because as you interact with someone, whether you are seeing them or not, it gets even closer. Right now, in a way, we may feel we are seeing this other person on that end. It makes it closer. We feel like we are a team. Our interactions right now are synchronous, very close to face. You can hear someone's voice. You may want to seek clarification immediately, but with an email, you may take a while before you get your responses back. Something is not very clear, but it takes a while before you get the responses. And this information is recorded. That has an advantage, but sometimes we say it's a disadvantage, but this is also an advantage for now. We'll call it an advantage where the conversation is recorded. You can still go back and look at it. If it is text, Skype text, you can follow through the transcript at a later time. Asynchronous, which is time delayed, we are saying that basic connections will be sufficient. Because if you receive an email, you download it, you can respond at your own time and later upload it or send it back. So it doesn't require so much of the bandwidth. No need to be available at the same time. Like today, we had all to commit ourselves to be here at 3. But this one, when it is asynchronous, you just read the message at a given time. Someone sends you an email, you respond that you will get back to them in either a day or 2, but it's also good to accept receiving or accept or acknowledge receiving the email. It gives time for one to reflect and even to write thoughtfully. Whatever responses you're giving, when you write them, they give you time to reflect. This is a record of the conversation and it can be kept. But at the same time, when we think of the disadvantage of e-therapy, one of them is there's a likelihood of this information being hacked online, but we are saying you can encrypt it for you to maintain confidentiality. You can even put a password on the email for the sake of confidentiality and privacy of this information. Is everyone suitable for e-therapy? And you're saying, no, there are people who may not be suitable. And as you had indicated earlier, we have people who are suicidal, people with severe and enduring mental health issues. They may not be in touch with reality, so you may not want to have them on e-therapy, and children under the age of 18. We are also talking of someone who is already in a face-to-face therapy. If already you're able to be in a face-to-face therapy, e-therapy, we are calling it an option or an alternative. But at the same time, you could be on face-to-face therapy with counselor A, and you want to be on e-therapy with counselor B. So such a person is not suitable for e-therapy. These are the strengths of e-therapy. I can see we have less than 10 minutes. Much of this information we had shared. The only thing that we didn't say is that e-therapy brings in what we call disinhibition effect, where someone is able to express themselves without any fear. They're able to bring out issues, and this can be very therapeutic. They feel safe when they're just writing whatever it is, when you are far there and they're not reading your cues or your verbal or the non-verbal cues. Writing is very therapeutic, and therefore when someone is writing, they're also reflecting, they self-reflection, and this helps them even heal in the process. We have some weaknesses, reduced interpersonal quality, and due to the non-verbal cues. The physical closeness is also lacking, and also personal information can easily be hacked. And that's why some people may find themselves avoiding the use of e-therapy, but it's just good to know their limitations and find ways of dealing with them. I would not want to go to how you can establish an online presence. This is more of dealing or coming up with a website for your e-therapy. Maybe we can do that at a later time. I would want to stop at this because I can see our time is almost up, and ask if there are any questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jane, for that useful presentation. Now I want to open this this forum now for feedback from members, and members feel free to let us know what are your feelings, what are your experiences with e-therapy, because it looks like this is going to be the new normal. As we go forward, we're going to be required to use e-therapy. more than we have been required before. Because, for example, if you have a client who has tested positive for COVID, they still need your psychological intervention. But what measures do you take to deliver that psychological intervention while also keeping safe as a person, because we are also susceptible to this infection? So I want to hear what are our thoughts as members.
All right, may I speak?
Yeah,
It's
please,
Susan again.
Yes.
From Daystar. So first, I want to appreciate Dr. Jane and her team for the good work and taking us through e-therapy. I guess this is something that we are using, and we're still trying to navigate our way around it. Personally, I've been using e-therapy since the schools were closed, and it has been an interesting, let me say, it has been interesting in terms of using it, that we're able to use it and continue with some form of therapy, and also challenging at the same time. And so for me, it's first of all to appreciate that e-therapy is an option or an alternative that we have to use for this COVID season. And so we need to familiarize ourselves with the different modes of e-therapy. So I think this is very good and very timely that we're discussing it. Secondly is on the weaknesses, because we have also experienced several challenges. And I think for me, from this discussion, what I would like us to brainstorm on is how to navigate some of the challenges that we are faced with e-counseling. Like, for example, the issue of not being able to see the nonverbal cues. You know, how can we go about that? And I realized I have to be now more alert. For example, if I'm not using Zoom or Skype, I have to listen more to the tone of voice to know whether the client is sounding in distress or is sounding emotional. So now that we don't have maybe some of the visual aids, we need to pay more attention to the tone of voice, for example. Another one is the issue of privacy. So some clients have been saying, like, they would say, okay, I don't want to use Zoom because maybe there are other people in the next room who can see or who can hear over here, because, you know, we're just like bedrooms or rooms apart. So they're opting more for, you know, chatting, like WhatsApp chat or chatting more. They feel that that would be more private. And they, even in the chatting, some of them are coming up with codes. So they'll tell me this means this, because I can't write or say some things. Somebody might check on my phone. So the issue of privacy is really a key issue, and I don't know how we can navigate it so that our clients feel safe. They will ask, are you recording this? So again, we have to have consent from them whether to record a session or not, and how it's going to be stored, and making sure that nobody accesses it. The third one is on the forms. For us, we actually had to design all those contract forms. We had to use now Google Forms and Microsoft Forms, so that now students can go online and just, you know, append their signature for consent. So those are some of the ways we have dealt with them, and I don't know, maybe people can also share some of the ways they have navigated with this e-therapy. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. That is very insightful. And I can see at Daystar, you are quite ahead. So let's hear from other members. What is our experience with e-therapy from where we are, either for work or in our personal practice? Dr. Nyabuto, your hand seems to be up. Tell us, what is your experience with e-therapy?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay, I've tried to meet my clients through phone. But sometimes you get that the client calls on me once a chat through phone, just a call. But sometimes there's some a bit of information they are not ready to talk over the phone. Could be the environment where they are calling from, could be they want to hide some information from the surrounding. So sometimes you end up getting that some clients just say, I'll call you later, and then they disappear and they don't call again. So as much as we talk of e-therapy, using phones, using chats, I think sharing of information is a bit limited. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The challenge of confidentiality and sharing information, opening up with e-therapy, that is real, because really you can't be sure who is listening on the other side. I have a client I'm dealing with, and actually I think I'm the one who is most uncomfortable, because many times we have scheduled a meeting, but I will realize that we are having the discussion while she's in the office. And mostly it's because she will be pausing a lot, and maybe you will hear somebody talking in the background. So even as a therapist, I feel concerned when we are talking about personal issues. So that concern is real. Dr. Macharia, Lucy, would you like to share your experience with e-therapy?
Actually, I've used phone and chat, and like we have.
Oh, we've lost you.
It's actually very.
You are a bit broken, Daktari. We can hardly hear you.
Me?
No, you are broken.
Hello?
We can't hear you well. And now you are muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better now.
I'm saying e-therapy is quite a bit of challenge, like we have seen. I've used chat, I've used phone, but really I've not gone deeply into the real e-therapy. For example, I've not used Zoom and all the others. So what I'm saying is that it is good that Dr. Jane and others who are involved have come up with this idea. And I believe that this is going to help us, and it is also going to help our students, because at least we'll be able to know how to go about it. So I would say that this is timely, and I'm looking forward to the next step. Thank you very much. I'm through.
Okay, just somebody else, please speak up and let us share our experience.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yes. Okay.
And I want to thank you especially for the presentation. For us, we are still going on as the students are still doing on their studies. But the part I really wanted is that part where she has said she was not going to do much. She will not give us more, because we are doing the counseling via telephone, by WhatsApp, but the question that was posed by the management is how we can be online such that students or anybody out there who wants counseling is able to get to us. So that part that the presenter said, Jane said she will not go through, I don't know whether she can probably next time share more so that we're able to have an idea how to go about it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Pastor Chris. This is an introduction. We will have an in-depth meeting. Will be scheduled soon. So I'll not speak for the presenter, but I'm sure she'll be willing to take us through. This was just the introductory part.
Yeah, it was just an introductory part. And thank you for your remarks. And even I've heard of the challenges that we are facing on e-therapy. Listening to Susan, Daystar University, I'm happy that you have already come up with a contract form that is needed. And that will be something that we'll be discussing and even coming up with some kind of sample forms that we can use. And maybe we will request you to share what you have and a few others so that we can have like 3 or so online agreement forms where students will need to fill in as they start their counseling sessions. The issue of privacy and confidentiality needs to be discussed quite early with your client as you start your sessions. You may also want to know if someone is sharing, if it is a laptop with someone or if their phone is used by other people, how can you do it differently? Maybe the information that they feel this is private and very confidential, you may want to use emails. You can use as many alternatives as possible to make sure that your client or your student feels secure and able to open up to discuss whatever it is that they would want to share. And even when you're thinking of their space, maybe you may want to know more. When you're doing this session, where are you? Can you find a safer place where no one will hear this conversation? And if not, can you do an email which will have a password or which can be encrypted so that when it comes to you, this will remain confidential? The non-verbal cues, I think as Susan had mentioned, we'll need to work hard to get them, but there's also a way of fine-tuning the non-verbals, fine-tuning the face-to-face skills to be able to hear the client. You've said you listen to the tone to know whether they are distressed or not. We can also do the same even on an email or the chat. The way it's being written, you may want to question them more. So we will, with time, learn on a few skills that will help us, but we'll work together because I know you have done this. We will work as a team to come up with as much information that will help us to move forward as an e-therapist. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, do we have anybody with an input they would like to share before we close the meeting? Feel free. Does silence? Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I would say that in my work with e-therapy, there's a difference working with children and adults, especially when using Zoom video platform. So one of the things I found very useful with younger children, of course, I know this platform is about university and college level adults, but with younger children, I have found it useful to give them a little break in the middle of the session and to factor in about 10 minutes, break. So if I have a session that is supposed to run for whatever time, we break it up. And I also find it very useful to select animations online that are short, maybe 1 or 2 minutes at most, but on average 30 seconds, animations on that topic that we are exploring that day. I also tried to use the same for adults, and they actually enjoyed it. I did not know that there was going to be such a good feedback from the adults in therapy. Like, for instance, there was a young lady in college who's having issues with self-compassion. And I found an animation online on self-compassion, And little things that she said she took for granted, like taking a long bath, for example, and really loving on her body, you know. And after I showed her that animation, we were discussing that cartoon character in that video that was created to illustrate self-compassion. She says she actually identifies with that, and it also helped to break the monotony. One thing I think we need to realize is that human eyes and the mind are not made for computers and screens. So it becomes really monotonous if we think, oh, we should just do it the same way we do physical sessions. And, you know, some people get bored just, you know, listening to one monotonous voice, no change of, even when you have training facilitations online, you know that you can make them more interactive. So the use of animation videos or sharing other, because you can share a screen, there's a lot of content that can go around better than even with physical. So I found that that is a very big advantage, and that both children and adults can be, you know, served using e-therapy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wangari, for sharing. And I think we'll also welcome you to share more as we go on. Very interesting input about using animations. It's a new area. We must admit that we are all learning, and we are open to learn more from each other. Thank you very much for that sharing. And the floor is still open, and I would like to welcome our chair, Dr. Lilian Nyang'aya, to also greet the members as we go towards closing.
Before you invite the chair, please.
Yes, Jen, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I must appreciate the Nairobi region for the work well done, because this one shows us that at least counseling has gone at a higher note. It's not just physical. I appreciate so much what you people have done, and I don't know how long it will take for the public universities to establish something like this. I'm just wondering. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen, for your concern. And I don't know, even me, I would not say how long, but we are the drivers in this seat. We are the ones to advise our universities on the way to go. So I think it's something we need to put forward to the administrations. Anybody else with another input?
Yeah, I would like to say
yes,
something.
Pauline, go ahead.
Thank you. So I would like to support the point of adding animation in counseling. Apparently right now I do teach kids, like I'm a tutor. My part-time job is a tutor. And I've realized that there's a difference, if you can include animation and funny characters, but they send a message, like the cartoons, the way they do it. The cartoons, they send also bad messages and good messages, but in a funny way. So if we can do counseling online and with kids, not just adults, but with kids, but in a funny way, because counseling is supposed to be empathetic and much easier to get along with other people. I found it, if maybe we can include with kids, which is more fun. Excuse me, 1 second.
That's called working from home. Other things come in the mix. As we wait, anybody else with an input as we wait for Pauline?
Yeah. Vice Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kindly scroll the presentation so that I see what has been discussed.
I can't scroll. Maybe the facilitator.
The facilitator, kindly scroll. I'm only seeing the weaknesses on the screen. I just want to have a glimpse of what has been discussed before I give in my input. Okay.
But in short, we have talked about e-therapy. We've done an introduction into e-therapy and did a short preview on the experience we have had in e-therapy. Those of us who are already doing some sort of counseling, a good number are using e-therapy and mostly use a combination of approaches. Most people are using WhatsApp is the most popular one. Others are using Skype, others are using phone calls and other issues. And others are using a combination of all those. So that's where we were, and we were talking about the advantages and the disadvantages of using e-therapy as it is at this point in time. And then we were sharing our experience with what have we learned or what challenges have we faced as we have used e-therapy with our clients. That's where we were.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jen Gure. Maybe I can give in my contribution at that point.
Yeah, please do.
Hello?
Yes, please do. We can hear you.
Okay. A good job done, Dr. Jen Gure. But allow me to add on to what you have said. I think we also need to look at the ethical considerations when we are doing e-counseling. So whatever kind of e-counseling that we've chosen to use, whether it is video conferencing, it is real-time chat, it is email, it is WhatsApp, whatever it is, we really need to think about the ethical considerations, and more specifically, the culture of the client. Who is this client that we are talking to that we do not know about? What is the culture of this client? Where do we come in? How will we know that this exactly is the client we are making reference to, or it's a different client in a different session? So that is something that I thought we really need to think about, the cultural aspect. And then we also need to figure out other questions that are key when looking at e-counseling. For example, in abusive situations, how are you going to be able to handle that? When you are planning a session and there is risk of suicide, do you still have to do e-counseling? What do you need to do at that point? So those ethical issues, really, we must take care of even when we are carrying out e-counseling. So I thought that is key information for us. And then I would also like to add one intervention that is so key for us when doing e-counseling that I have used over and over the years. And the model that I want to talk about is the care model. Because you're doing e-counseling, it is important that you use the the care model, and the care model, care of C-A-R-E. When we take care, the acronym, we want to encourage our clients, we want to build them on a continuum of care. So the letter C needs to stand for connected and contained. You need to be able to connect to your client and contain your client. What I mean by this is you need to be able to challenge, to tell the client that whatever they are presenting, whether it is E or face-to-face, that challenge is human and manageable. That is what C stands for, connect and contain. A, in this case, would stand for assess and affirm. You've got what it takes to get through this. You need to affirm your client that they've got what it takes to get through whatever problem they are presenting. R stands for reorient and reaffirm. It is so key when you're doing e-counseling to reorient and reaffirm your client. You are not, the client is not to be defined by the situation. So reorient them and reaffirm them. It is not this situation. you are still you. You can manage this. So reorient and reaffirm the client. Then E stands for encourage and empower, so that they can keep going step by step at a time. Because now that you're not seeing them face to face, it means if you see them today, you're going to see them another day, or some hours later on. So you need to encourage and empower the client. So the care model to me works very well with e-counseling. So it's important for those of us who will feel comfortable because it's at the discretion of the counselor. But for me, the care model has worked very well, where you connect and contain, assess and affirm, reorient and reaffirm, and finally you encourage and empower the student, the client. Thank you so much. Back to you, Catherine.
Much, Chair. You have actually brought it out very well, and thank you for introducing the care model. I think we have all gotten it. Susan is saying, can't write out the care model, the model. C, the chair said, is for connect and contain the client. A is for assess and affirm your client, that they got what it takes to get over whatever they're going through. R is the reorient and reaffirm the client, bring them back where they are and affirm them. Then E is to encourage and empower them to be able to move over and to go on with their life despite the challenges. I think that's where we are. And in the interest of time, if we don't have any other burning thing, I would like to say thank you very much, members. This has been very informative, but is there somebody with a burning input so that we don't lock them out? Any member? You have a question we've not answered, maybe in the chat we missed?
Mine is not something that was missed. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, but an appreciation of what has been presented today.
Yes.
But we really want, as we progress, maybe the presenters can bring the issue of ethical codes, because I know with e-therapy, then the ethical codes, ethical issues come in. And looking at our ethical code, that one for KUPCA, looking for that for other counseling organization, you realize that the aspect of e-counseling, of digital counseling is not well captured. So I think maybe you can look at that at a later time as we progress.
Thank you very much. That is Rono Wangari. Thank you very much for that input. I think the issue of ethical consideration in e-counseling being a new area is something we need to look at. And this is also for the counseling organizations also to come up with guidelines which take care of us as the practitioners. When can we be accused of breaking confidentiality of our client? I was just talking about a client I talked to and they're in an open space. Supposing something happens or information leaks out there, will they think it's from the counseling session or something? So that's a good area for us, even as an organization, to think about so that we have clear guidelines on what constitutes ethical behavior and ethical codes for us as we go into this new forum of interaction with our clients. I think we have gotten that, and we will bring it up even in the meetings we meet with other organizations to see the way forward. All right. If we don't have any other input, I'd like to say, members, thank you for your time. Pauline, you say apologies for the interruption. You are back now?
Yes, I'm back.
You can continue and finish your sentence.
All right, sorry for that. There's so many things going on here.
Yes.
So I was saying, I'm currently doing tutoring part-time because a lot of kids have closed their school. And some of the models I've noticed that especially in counseling and during right now, the children are having a lot of challenges, especially to balance between, I know it has nothing to do with this discussion, but it's kind of something we should look at. So we have like programs we do with the kids, and they are online. So there's also the counseling part. They do counseling from 4 years old to 12 to 16 years old. And they use a lot of apps that contain kids program that are kind of easy to play along with. Like they are playful, and they have games and they have songs, but in a nicer way. They send message, and the kids would like meditate and talk of it, and you would see it kind of changes their behavior. So I was thinking if we do that in counseling, e-therapy especially, because it's online, you don't have to go to where the kids are. You can still connect with them online, and you have all those apps. We can have our own, or we can buy from the school provide for now. But if we can include that in counseling, it could be very helpful. I don't know.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. Madam Chair, would you have a response to that? One input?
I think, sorry, I'm also taking lunch at the same time. So I was saying that is something that we can work on. The only problem is when we call upon members, we talk as we talk in a group like this, in our meetings, but when we call upon members, nobody really comes up to offer assistance. So it is something we can sit down and do. We have our own ethical code that does not touch on e-counseling, but we can tailor it to suit e-counseling, because ideally, if you look at the ethics that govern e-counseling and the ethics that govern any other kind of counseling, they're more or less the same, only that we now need to tailor to suit e-counseling, and it's something doable. So as executive, we can sit down and see how best we can do this, because that's the way now. Actually, the new normal is e-counseling. So I think we will be doing something on it. So members, when we call upon you, please. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you. Jane, you have something to add?
Yeah, we already have the e-therapy ethical code, but we have found ourselves using the British Association for Counseling and Psychotherapy 209. This is something that we can borrow. There's also an American Association for Online Therapy. Those are two that we can bring and also find a way of contextualizing them to our context, because I know in Kenya we don't have one, but currently we are making good use of what is available from this British Association for Counseling and Psychotherapy.
Thank you very much for that input. I think we have heard you, and we'll see what we can do. So thank you, members. I would like to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Dr. Jen, for agreeing. I know people are busy. It is very difficult time as we prepare for online teaching and online interaction in our institutions. Thank you, Dr. Kenti, also for helping us out at very short notice in this interaction. And thank you, members, for taking your time to come. We will meet again next week, Thursday, and probably, Chair, you would want to say something about our meetings going forward and facilitation.
Okay, thank you once again, Catherine. Now, members, allow me to take this opportunity once again to thank each and every one of you. You might have realized that the past 2 weeks we have not had a session because of facilitators. So we did sit down as the executive and agreed that we cascade it to the regions. And we are now giving this mandate to the regional coordinators to come up with facilitators from your regions, and the topics will be of your choice, but they have to be relevant for KUPCA. So Nairobi region already has started. Next week, we are supposed to have Western region. Western region already said they are ready with a facilitator. So we are hoping that the other regions will link up with me so that we are able to draw a schedule. We haven't drawn the schedule yet because not all the regions have given us the dates when they want to present. So I want to make an appeal once again to the regions. Kindly get in touch with me or with the vice chair, Catherine, so that we are able to come up with a schedule and the topics that you will be discussing with us to enable us make this association effective and for our own personal growth. It is ours. And we are building ourselves personally and professionally. So it's key for our professional practice and for our own ethical reflections that we do these presentations. So I want to assure members that moving forward, we'll be having our sessions every Thursday until, and I'm hoping that they will not be until, even when our sessions open, we still continue with Zoom meetings. So thank you, Chair. I don't think I have anything to add.
Okay, thank you very much. It's not
Nice
good
chair.
manners to speak after the chair. So I'll just say this meeting is officially dismissed until next week, Thursday at 3 p.m. If you have any suggestions, please get in touch with us. We are always open. Asanteni sana and enjoy the rest of the week and the weekend ahead. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.